Hello, everybody. It's Lynn McShane, Executive Director of the Mummers Festival, streaming to you live from a secret location in Mount Pearl. And we are so thrilled to have you all here with us tonight. We are proud to present Music and Friends with the incomparable, the venerable, the legendary Mr. Bud Davidge. Equally legendary in my mind, because he's my cousin, Paul Hamilton. And Mr. Nate Hammond. So what show we've got lined up for you. We're so glad you're all here. And we've got a bunch of, socially distanced mummers here in the background. So you might see them a bit later on. But without further ado, I am going to turn it over to the people who know what they're doing. And you're in for a treat. Here they are, Bud, Paul, and Nate.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing tonight? Very happy to be here to accommodate the finale, I suppose it is, of the Mummers Festival this year. Everything virtual, as you know. We got to do everything within the rules, and I'm sure Lynn is all familiar with that. But she's been at it for quite a while now, all week, I suppose.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. There you go, eh? With the great tradition of the Mummers in Newfoundland and Labrador. She's been at it for 2 weeks. We have played before for the festival when it was in another location and everything was free, and we didn't have to restrict anything. We had 500 or 600 mummers or whatever it was parading around, and then we were happy to do some music for them to get them going and all that sort of thing. So before the night is out, probably going to see some mummers turn up. They always do when we sing that old magic song, which we will do later on. You never know what's going to happen. So you just wait and see what's going to happen. Right now, because we're all friends here and because we're going to do music, we're going to do that old song of ours that goes way back to 1986 called Music and Friends. Turn to gray behind the sun, and tired hands their daily work has done. Nothing seems to turn things round again and make the old world right like music and friends. Music and friends. It's so good to bring together music and friends. Side by side, no one can break them when we take the time to make them. Nothing else can take the place of music and friends. Wait a moment. Music and friends. It's so good to bring together music and friends. Side by side, no one can break them when we take the time to make them. Where there's one, there'll be the other, music and friends. Nothing makes the old with the boys here, Paul Hamilton on the accordion, you know, and Nate over on the bass guitar there. Fine musicians, got a great band all of their own called Hamilton Sound, and you've probably seen them on Facebook off and on, and you'll see them again. I think they're doing something on Saturday night, aren't you, boys?
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. They got a couple other fellas in their band that'll be with them, and all about the good old music. Boy, I'm telling you that right here in this province of ours, Newfoundland and Labrador, especially around Christmas time. And COVID can't stop the music. It might stop a lot of other things, but not the music. We're going to do an old song now, myself and Sim Savory. We had a little band called Sim and I over a long period of time, right up until 1997, thereabouts. And we did a bunch of recordings, as everybody probably knows by now. And somewhere along the way, we did this song about a young fella who was in love and thought he had lost his girl and all that. You know how it goes. And it's not good stuff. But anyway, it all turned out good because real songwriters can change things around a bit and make it good when it's all said and done. And this is what happened in this old song. It's called The Rose in Her Hair. In her eyes there was no light, and the rose in her hair. In my arms there was no one, so I put her there. On her lips was a promise, my heart was a prayer. When I finally went, I went home with the scent of the rose in her hair. On her face there was beauty, a picture to see. In her arms there was someone she loved more than me. My mind was a vision, so lifelike and clear. When I finally went, I went home with the scent of the rose in her hair. Play some ball. It was only a dream. She lay there beside me, so gently asleep. As I kissed her in slumber, I whispered a prayer. Then I passed me with, I went home with the scent of the rose in her hair. And then I awakened, it was only a dream. She lay there beside me, so gently asleep. As I kissed her in slumber, I whispered a prayer, and peacefully went back to sleep with the scent of the rose in her hair. As I kissed her in slumber, I whispered a prayer, and peacefully went back to sleep with the scent of the rose in her hair. is, it ain't water like I got here. Oh, and speaking of that, I'm from down the south coast, of course, down Fortune Bay. Those boys here are from over on Belle Island. So they don't know as much about this stuff as we do down there, about Cynthia and Miquelon and all that, you know.
We can tell you a lot of stories, but
I suppose you can. I guess you can. But anyway, the stuff they used to bring in down there once upon a time wasn't water, I can tell you that right now.
no, we drank it all.
All right.
We were the handyman.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, this little story and this little song we're going to do for you now has something to do with that. Little story about a little schooner down in Fortune Bay, down in St. Jack's in Fortune Bay, owned by the Burke family down there, a big family in the banking schooner days. And they had several schooners, and one of them they had was called the Marion, the schooner, a small banking schooner. I think she had about 8 dories or something like that. They were door fishermen out on Grand Banks, of course. And anyway, the story goes, and it's a true story. I know a member of my family, my grandmother's brother, was on this schooner, and a tragedy occurred back in 1915, in June of 1915. And the little schooner got lost, we'll say lost, but there was some intrigue going on there. There was some nefarious things that went on, obviously, and the schooner and their crew were never ever heard tell of. And the story I told in the song that we wrote back in 1981 or thereabouts, recorded in 82, called The Loss of the Marion. So we're going to do that song for you now. In 1915, on the 10th day of June, at Burke's Wharf, the Marion lay. Prepared for the banks, as was custom to do, all loaded with game ready for bait. The wind from the northwest, a fine summer breeze, and I Jones from St. Jack's steer. And the boys in the forecastle made plans for the night. They'd all go ashore in St. Pierre. Some were uneasy, badly troubled, they said, but I Jones was known to fight. At the cafe, the France on the last trip he made, a French from that threatened his life. The challenge to fight was issued that night, while the cheap French liquor ran free. The French Captain Ben warned the Marion's men he would answer the challenge at sea. Next day the Marion set sail again, and so to the story relay. The French being thrown away anchor as well, and followed close by in her way. She's a Fortune Bay schooner heading out for the banks, with a fine crew of Fortune Bay men. But some on the quay were rumored to say she'd never be heard from again. That befell the Marion crew, and their schooner will never be known. Not a trace, no tidings forever again to be worked from those waiting at home. Now some say the French want true to his word, some say he confessed for he died. And he smuggled the Marion and settled the debt, not taking one man or the side. Families of Skinners and Bellers and Miles grieve for their loved ones on shore. And the Newfoundland story of lost in the sea was told us so often before. She's a Fortune Bay schooner heading out from St. Jack's, with a fine crew of Fortune Bay men. But never no more will she pass by the light, with her jet flapping out to the wind. Oh, never no more will she pass by the light with her jet flapping out to the wind. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'd like to say, I don't want to say, but we do know that these stories have happened so many times in this province and in the Maritimes, and it just happened again over in Nova Scotia. And I think some of our friends from Newfoundland from there, unfortunately, were on the boat. Okay, so right now we're going to invite a friend of ours who's a transplanted American, I suppose somebody said. He came up from the United States some time ago, fell in love with our province up here, Mr. Shipley, Wyatt Shipley, and he's happy as a lark up here, and who wouldn't be in this great province of ours. And he's learned how to play the card. Well, you know, that's a passport right there. And he's going to play a tune. And I think it's a land tune, of course.
I'm telling you, buddy's from the green.
From where?
On the green.
Wow.
That's where the Hamiltons are from. That's where the Hamiltons are from.
Oh, yeah.
They're the hardest part of the green. There you go.
That's the section of
I was on the
Bella.
lower part.
We're going to hear more about that later. That's right.
This boy's lower.
Yeah. So what are we going to do there, Wyatt? What's the tune called?
Muscles in the corner?
Muscles in the
Yeah.
Corner. Where in the world did that ever come from? I think I know where that came from. Yeah. So we're doing it in the KG. Are we there, Paul?
Yep.
Okie dokie, here we go. Expert here on the accordion. So I want to say, Paul, what do you think of that?
Oh man, that was.
Hey, talk a lot. Yeah.
Good job.
I think we'll keep them. Well,
I was watching the toe tapping there.
Very important.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that was excellent.
Oh, thank you.
well, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to take a little break because I think Lynn got some other things she wants to do as part of our little program here tonight. So she wants to talk a little bit about our traditions and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to give Lynn an opportunity to come in here and do whatever it is she would like to do.
Oh my God, I don't know about you, but I was in the corner dancing. Isn't that awesome, everybody? And hello to people watching all the way from Bay d'Espoir to Australia. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. They're tuning in from Cork, Ireland. They're tuning in from all over Canada, down in the States. And so we're so thrilled to be able to bring everybody together for a special night like this. And it wouldn't be a good thing. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say this right now. But if you like what the Mummers Festival does and you like our presentation here tonight, donations are always welcome so we can continue to do what we've been doing for 12 years. Anybody who's interested in making a donation, mummersfestival.ca/donate. Thanks for participating again. Right now, I'm a bit out of breath because I've been dancing by myself. I wasn't dancing with anyone else. Well, COVID, right? I'm just going to sit down over here. How does that look, Beth? Yep. Okay. I like sitting by Paul because he reminds me of my grandfather. I want to talk to Bud first. Thanks, Bud, for coming tonight.
Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And we wanted to go back. We know we've got a lot of people watching know the history, of course, but we got a lot of younger viewers now who may not know. Tell us a little bit about when you actually wrote the iconic Mummer song, first off. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Okay, well, it was done it was released first on a single we used to call 45s back then, the little record with a hole in the middle of it, big hole in the middle of it, and 45 RPM records. We put it out on that in 1983, in the fall of 1983 for Christmas, and then the year after that we put out the long play record, vinyl record, called Christmas Fancy, which had included a Mummer song on there too. And of course, the story of the Mummers, the reason why I wrote the song in the first place was because we were planning on doing a Christmas album, and we wanted to do our own material as we did with all of our records. And so the first question came up is, well, what will we put on there, that hasn't been done or reflects our traditions and culture and all that sort of stuff where we grew up down in the Bay, down Fortune Bay. And so, of course, Mummers was the first thing that popped up. We used to have such fun doing this stuff down there. And all the small communities around the province, of course, did it in their own different traditional ways. Sometimes they called them Jannies and they called them different things. But we called them Mummers, and we had a bunch of fun doing it.
Did it take you long to write the song?
No, as a matter of fact, it didn't. And it was one of these easy songs to write because I was just reflecting on exactly what we were doing, in getting ready to do the Mummers and going around to all the houses and stuff in the community. And it was fairly easy to do because all the images and pictures that I just put them into words, and there they were.
Easy for him to say, isn't it? Easy for him to say. Amazing songwriter, as you've heard some of his music. And so, but you talk about the tradition down in Fortune Bay. I'm interested to hear how you guys kind of went mummering or did the mummering tradition compared to, say, on Bell Island or up in Renews, where my family is from. What was the night of mummering like in Fortune Bay?
Well, usually always it happened after Christmas Day. Everything Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Well, first of all, there was Tibbs Eve, which was the 23rd.
Yeah.
And our tradition in Fortune Bay, generally, and I presume in most of the small communities, isolated, we were all isolated, mind you, only by water. You couldn't get in there any other way, no roads or anything down there. So Tibbs Eve was usually when the men folk would get together and have a few, and homebrew and whatever was on the go, and they do that. And they do it the day before Christmas Eve, because Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was children's and mothers and ladies, moms weren't all that happy about having to deal with anything other than looking out to the children, making sure they had a good Christmas and all that sort of stuff, and cooking and baking and you name it, So the men did their thing on Tibbs Eve, which was 23rd, and then Christmas Eve, of course, the big, Eve. And then Christmas Day, a big celebration with the Christmas tree and presents and all that sort of stuff. And then Boxing Day. Back then, we didn't call it Boxing Day. I don't think we even had a name on it.
No.
I think the older folks might have called it St. Stephen's Day or something. I believe it was St. Stephen's.
Yeah, up along the shore, they called it the St. Stephen's Day.
Yeah. But then after that, the old 12 days, of course, after that, then whatever days were left, 9 days or whatever it was, well, there you go. There come the mummering, and that was the big thing then. And the times, of course, you'd have these times, we call them, where there's soup supper and dance and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And down in my little community, we were very fortunate because we had two religious denominations there. We had the Roman Catholic denomination and our Anglican Church of England, they called it back then. So we were really, really lucky because we get 2 of everything, right? You know?
Two,
Oh,
two,
yeah,
two
yeah.
church summers.
2 lots of times, 2 soup suppers, 2 dances, at least 2, probably more.
And there was
But
no
anyway.
problem going across the road to each other's houses. Was
Yeah,
there?
so you dress up in all these old rigs and stuff like the mothers have always done, and try to make sure that nobody, when you go in, nobody's going to know who you are, that kind of thing. So you don't, if you were tall, you don't stole or and made a hump on your back or whatever, and made yourself look different from,
Yeah.
which was hard to do. Now I've got a good friend down in English Harbor. I hope he's watching tonight, and a good family down there who do the mummering, and they still do it. They're the keeping family down in English Harbor West, and one of the guys there, Harry, his name is, he's a big tall fella, and he's got a devil's own time to get a costume that everybody don't know who he is. And but anyway, it's all in great fun, and they do it every Christmas. I think they still do it. We haven't been down there Christmas time now for quite a few years, and but I still see pictures and stuff. And the other day, I got to mention this. This is something that I really got to mention. Because it reflects on the custom and carrying on the custom among our young children. On the other day, the school in English Harbor West, which is Conrad Fitzgerald Academy, they had all of their children dress up as mummers and parade through the town, and they came over to our house, and they went up, we're not there, but they went up on our front, we call it bridge, on the patio, front bridge, and they had their picture took, and it was amazing, it was beautiful.
Oh,
So it's nice to see that the kids are learning this. They know what the customs are, and of course they've seen it happen many times. And but some of them are very young, and to have them take part in it in that way, it was really fascinating. I thought it was marvelous. Yeah.
Good job, English Harbor West. Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
And in these COVID times and everything like that, to be creative enough to do something that you could do safely and within the rules and all that sort of thing. It was wonderful.
That's right. For people who are watching from outside Newfoundland and Labrador, I think we're probably the only place in the world that the government has actually put in regulations about mummering for this year. So that's got to be a first. So we're all advised to mummer within our bubble. So we are within a bubble here. For anybody who's wondering, this is a safe bubble. But when you can put your rig on, when you get that bra and put it on the outside, and stuff your behind and all that, you got to make sure you stay within the bubble, right, Bud?
Oh yeah.
You got to stay.
Absolutely.
Safety first, always.
I was saying the other day, somebody said, everybody's wearing a mask, and I was saying, but one time mummering was an annual thing. Now it's a perennial thing because all year long you're going to be a mummer. But anyway, there you go. Great fun. And great tradition, of course, that came across the waters when our ancestors came over from England and Ireland and so on. But this tradition goes on all over the world, and has gone on all over the world for a long time, So it's quite a thing.
Well, it's awfully good to have a champion like yourself here tonight to talk about it. And before I let you go, I want to ask what you're doing musically these days. Are you working on anything? Got any projects on the go?
Yeah, well, I've got enough material now just about to do another album. I think I'll probably do another one.
Like to hear that.
I'm slower than I used to be, and that sort of not as prolific as I used to be writing, but that goes with the territory. And sort of hoping to do that, and probably Paul and Nate might be probably involved with us over the years. You never know.
Twist your arms.
We'll be doing something anyway.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful to hear. For those of you who are watching, who don't know a lot about Bud's music and his catalog, you got to look it up. I'm telling you, if you think tonight is good, go and look at everything else because it's just wonderful. Thanks, Bud. I'm going to let you get back to the music.
Thank you, Lance, very much.
And keep dancing out there wherever you are, all over the world.
Yeah, we're going to do another 3 pieces here before we have a special event that's coming on. I think, Len, you want to come back and say a few words with the boys here about Bell Island traditions, that sort of thing?
Yeah, next.
So we'll allow her to do that.
That was the next one, man.
Darling, say, and we'll do Southwester and
I'm redoing it.
That's a little work. Next song we're going to do is another old song that we did. My Sim and I, our band, did some years back. From a great friend of ours from Torbay, Pat Casey, wrote this song, and I think it's sort of I want to say a special word about it tonight, because over this last year, as everybody knows, everything has been so trying. The people have had to adapt to things that they weren't used to doing. And of course, we've been very much concerned about our senior citizens in the homes and the nursing homes and all these, and all the people who look out to them and make sure that they're safe and all this. It's been marvelous what has happened. But for our old folks who are out there, we're going to especially do older folks like ourselves and who are out there and are listening, or if whatever, hope they have a great Christmas and all that. We're going to do this song especially for them, and I think it has something to say to them especially. It's called Darling Say You Love Me When I'm Old. Two lovers, they were walking hand in hand. The maiden wore a shiny wedding band. She said, my love, you own my heart and soul. Just promise that you love me when I'm old. He kissed her lips and touched her golden hair, and looked upon her face so young and fair. He held her gently to his loving heart, saying only God alone could make us part. Darling, say you love me when I'm old. When dark clouds gather round and nights are cold, and say you'll never trade our love for gold. Darling, say you love me when I'm old. Play some wrong place. They lived for many years as man and wife, with 7 kids to grace their happy life. Sometimes the nights were dark and nights were cold, but still their love grew strong as they grew old. Darling, say you love me when I'm old. When dark clouds gather round and nights are cold, and say you'll never trade our love for gold. Darling, say you love Just promise that you'll love me when I'm old. Yes, darling, say you'll love me when I'm old. There you go, especially for our good friends out there, our old elderly friends and all like ourselves, and have a good Christmas. And there's a song especially for you. Right now, I'm going to ask Paul if he would like to do a song, and I'm sure he would because he knows a lot of songs too. Play the accordion, play the tunes, but he also knows a lot of songs. This one, I understand, Paul, is an old Newfoundland song too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
My first reminiscing about this song, which one is it?
Father's Old Southwestern.
Yeah, first time I remember hearing that, I think a good friend down in Poolscove in Fortune Bay, Edison Williams. You probably remember when Edison did his recordings in Nova Scotia, but he's Newfoundlander, of course, one of the pioneers from down Fortune Bay. And I'm sure Edison had this one on one of his records. And what are we doing this in? Key, D. Father's Old Southwestern.
My memories often take me back when I was just a lad. When the boats came in from fishing, I'd run to meet my dad. He would take his old sou'wester up and throw it ashore to me, and I would put it on my head, how happy I would be. He wore it every Sunday, he never liked the cap. He wore it every Monday when he went to haul the trap. He wore it in the sunshine, he wore it in the rain. On Sunday or on Monday, he wore it just the same. He well had could only speak what stories it would tell. It would tell you of the many's a night we fought the raging swells. It would tell you of those happy days out on the squid ground. Wherever that my father went, it was perched upon his ground. And now he's dead and laid to rest, he'll wear it nevermore. For there's no stormy weather over on the other shore. He said to me before he died, there's one request I'll make. Go take that old sou'wester hat and wear it for my sake. My father's old sou'wester, he wore it in days gone by. And every time he put it on, his face would gleam with joy. Would remind me of those happy days, those happy days and old. I would not part with that old hat for the full of hidden gold.
There you go, folks. That's a good old traditional song. Yes, sir. And you know, when you see the mummers coming around Bud Davidge, every now and then there'll be one with sou'wester on too. Yeah. Yeah, so Paul, you're going to do a jig for him, eh, for us, and later on, we're gonna do a Christmas section here, and Lord knows what might happen when we start to do that, but we'll wait and see how that goes. We're gonna do this tune now, and I think Lynn wants to have another little chat, and we'll allow her to do that, I'm sure we will, this is her show, really. Entering St. John's, well, I think we used to call this one Emil's jig, I think.
Emil's jig, yeah.
Uncle Emil Benoit out in
Actually,
Black Duck
that's where
on the
I
West
heard
Coast.
from on your album.
Yeah, I remember back then when we were doing that record, and I gave Emil, the only time I ever spoke to him, I didn't ever see him in person. But I said, I gotta give him a call and see if it's okay, because I kind of figured, well, I didn't know if it was his tune or not, but he was the one that I associated with that particular tune. So gave him a call. I had a nice little chat with him. Fine gentleman to talk to, and funny kind of guy too, really funny. But anyway, here's the tune. We called it Emil's Jig, and I think the other name for it is Entering St. John's. And Paul, you're going to do it in the key of
G.
G. Great old tune. Here's it goes. Yes, sir. That was a good one for a good old square dance, eh? Remember we used to do the Lancers?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Lose a lot of sweat. You didn't lose much weight, but you lost a lot of sweat. That ain't through reasons that you didn't lose much weight, I guess.
I never worried about weight. What? That's one thing I never worried about weight.
Nobody?
No, I was 7 pounds 9 ounces once.
You don't even know Jig's dinner. There's nothing wrong with you guys. Well, we got an app for that. Okay, Len, you want to do another little chat over here? Well, you come on in and see what the boys got to say, because this is going to be interesting. I like to hear this myself.
I'm wore out dancing.
Yeah, there you go. That's what's supposed to happen.
You noticed, did you? It's hard to dance.
Good, good.
We're keeping 6 feet apart, but and we're dancing safely. But man, are we dancing?
Yes.
I hope you guys all are too.
That's how we know it's working, eh? When that happens, we know what we're doing is working.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about
I hope that crowd down in Australia knows how to do a jig. We're going to find out. Send us videos. We want to see you jigging in Australia and Cork, Ireland,
and all around the world.
And all around the world. So I thought I'd like to have a chat with Paul and Nate now, because they, as Bud mentioned, they grew up in Bell Island. And I know my father used to tell a few stories, but he probably didn't tell the worst ones, I wouldn't say. Mama's here, but she won't tell me either. But anyway, Paul was my dad's first cousin, and I don't know, are we related to you, Nate?
No, it's a friend, that's
Well, we're not related,
Oh, no.
are we?
No.
No, okay.
close
But,
friends.
but they both,
Lucky you, Lance.
And from the green.
from the green. So, do you tell me guys about your mummering growth experiences? Our dad said you used to call them Jennies on the island. Is that?
Jenning, yeah, we go
Yeah.
Jenning, yeah.
So-
Just the same as mummering, but like you just dress up the same way and you go like you go to house. Nobody ever locked their doors. Like you go out 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You never had to knock on the door. You just walk in. There was always somebody down. Like it was probably the wood stove going or the oil stove going, and it was always a drink or something on the table, and you sit down. If you had the accordion, well, you weren't getting out.
Probably have a guitar,
Take
stay 3 or 4 strings on.
Take a beer, yeah, homebrew. Oh yeah.
With a
John
ladle.
Bull. John Bull.
Oh, yeah, John Bull, that was a good one.
Yeah.
And a ladle on the barrel on the keg, eh?
Yeah.
Covered over with a sheet. Oh, yeah.
So did you guys only go as adults or when did you go as kids?
No, we went as kids, but what we used to do then as kids, we used to, the excuse was knock on the door, just get a few candy. Can I come in and see your Christmas tree?
There you go.
Oh, yes, come in, right, and you get a glass of syrup or chocolate, right, and
Yeah.
you go home and then you'll be like a harbor seal, right? So,
And so, like, would you go in a crowd? Like, I know in Renews when we'd started, maybe down Fortune Bay too, you'd start at one house, maybe 2 or 3 mummers would go in, and you do your heavy little time there, and then the people in that house might decide they're going with you, and you'd kind of snowball.
yeah.
So was that how it was for
that's
you guys
exactly
too?
the way it went, yeah.
You
Yeah.
start off with 2 or 3, you end up probably 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Then the guitar with 3 or 4 strings on it.
Yeah. That's all you needed, sure, really.
Once you had a bit of music, people used
Yeah.
to love to keep you in the house.
Yeah.
I'd say, Nate, you probably wouldn't in tune by the time you got to the end of the community.
I agree with you on that one.
On a frosty night especially.
Now, a part of our research is about the hobby horse, and there's stories of the hobby horse on Bell Island. Do you guys know anything about that? The hobby horse, people would wear almost like a horse's head with a big blanket over them, and they kind of go around.
I know over on the island, you'll also see ending on anybody's head.
But not that.
I mean, but I
It's
would
a
go
very
out
right.
on Jenny, and there's quite a few times I got a fright.
Yeah,
Somebody jumped out at the corner
yeah,
just to scare you,
yeah.
and then I'd run home like you wouldn't believe. And the fellas, whoever it was dressed up, scared me. He'd be laughing their head off.
Yeah. So it may not be a
Don't
horse,
forget
but he wasn't always friendly mummers.
Oh,
No.
you had the bad ones.
Had bad ones. Anything bad besides someone scaring you? Anything bad ever happen to you?
No, not really.
No.
No.
Nothing you can tell in mixed company.
Well, talk about that later.
Talk about that later when the camera goes off. Yeah. So Paul, there's a big crowd of you fellas.
Oh, yeah.
And so would you guys go? Would you go with your brothers and sisters? Would you go with your friends? Like what?
Aunts and uncles and, you know. Like,
Everybody.
yeah, well, not only a big crowd of us, was a lot of aunts and uncles all around Bell Island. Like
Yeah.
Mom had a big family, like she had 5 or 6 sisters older, and well, you know, yourself, like your father.
Yeah.
Right, and your grandfather. Like,
Yeah.
the first place we had was over at Uncle Ned's.
Was it?
Yeah, because we lived almost in the same area.
Yes, right.
Or see
Yeah.
Uncle Ed Aunt May, and then we have it like he was good on the fiddle, you know.
Yeah, I know. He
Pop
was great.
Calls the Weasel was his favorite.
So now Pop like to see the mummers coming too.
Yeah. Oh, it was great on the green. Like, I mean, and like I said, back then you could go out and you could leave the door open.
Yeah.
You know, and
Nothing that ever happened.
no, nothing ever happened.
So did you ever teach your own kids how to mummer? Did you ever bring a mummer?
No, I didn't.
No? Gotta get back at it now.
Gotta get back at it.
You do. Now you're associated with this crowd, the Mummers Festival, you gotta be back at it.
Sure, yeah, we have to do that.
But we're enjoying every minute of this.
Well, great, we're so glad to have you here. It's
I think, you know, Lynn, just to get back a little something that you mentioned there, it's a generational thing too, and each generation had a little different spin
Oh, for
probably
sure.
on it.
Yeah.
And some of the earlier ones, there was some pretty sinister stuff going on,
Yeah.
as you know. There
Yeah.
was a rule, and it's still on the books, I suppose, that outlawed mummering in Newfoundland because of this murder that took place out in Bay Robertson.
Bay
right
Roberts,
there.
It was
That's
finally
history
taken
there.
off the books in 1963,
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
told.
So there was a sinister thing about it
Yeah.
and sort of religious conflict and all that sort of stuff that
Yeah.
went on way back. And then when the more knowledgeable or whatever you want to call it, easier to get along with people came along, generation came along, all that was left behind. And the obby horse was part of that other sinister thing,
Yeah.
to frighten people.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
definitely was.
yeah, I
Did you know,
remember.
do you know the hobby horse?
I know about it, and but in my experience growing up in the 50s, I knew we had somebody had made one, and the remnants of it were still around. Canvas, made out of canvas, and
Okay.
like a horse's head with the teeth with nails sticking off.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff, but nobody ever used it. In
Oh,
my
okay.
generation, we never
Okay.
ever used it, but
Yeah.
you ask about it, and they say, "Oh yeah, we remember that when that was used to go right for to scare people."
Scare people.
The aspect of it, where ours was the fun part,
Yes.
the music part, and all that sort of thing, dancing part,
Yeah, we're friendly mummers now.
Oh yeah.
No
very
sinister, there's no sinister mummers allowed associated with the
Emancipated
Mummers
mummers.
Festival. So you gotta be friendly mummers,
Yes,
right?
really, for sure, yeah.
I'm gonna let you get back to play the latter part of your set now. It's great chatting with you guys. I love hearing the stories from Bell Island especially, but from everywhere, because everywhere does it differently.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yes,
You
indeed.
know?
Yeah, I noticed when I started teaching school in 1962, and I went on the West Coast in Codroy Valley. Then afterwards, I went down in Bay of down in Trout River, that area down there, and they had the mummering, but they had different aspects to it.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the Codroy Valley there was a big farming thing. Of course,
Yeah.
down home it was fishing thing, all
Yeah.
associated with fishing. And there was little things that they did having to do with farms and
Yeah.
sheep's tails and all that sort of stuff, that they have on their rigs, and they call them jannies, which was new to me then when I went there.
Yeah, you know them as
And
mummers.
so little variations as
Yeah.
we've done with the music too. Everything in Newfoundland is so creative,
Yeah.
and we even take the music and change it a bit. And depending on where you are in the province, you'll find little nuances or little changes that are made. And same thing with the customs, same sort of thing. We do it all the time. We're inventive people. That's the
We are
reason.
very inventive
Very.
people, especially this year. We're inventive mummers this year. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the great part about tradition,
It
right? It
is.
changes.
Yeah.
And certainly, I don't think back in the 1800s, they imagined hundreds of thousands of people walking through the streets of Old St. John's,
That's right.
rigged up as mummers. But
And a big advantage, we're an island, and those guys live on another island within an island. And island populations, island people are different. They have different things. They're more independent, and they do things the way they want to do them, and they invent things, and they're creative. This is a factor there too,
Yeah.
no question about it. And,
Yeah.
so,
yeah, well, we're glad to be part of carrying on
Oh,
that
yeah,
tradition. That's
sure.
what the Mummers Festival is all about. And now we're going to bring you back to some more great music. Take it away, boys.
We're going to do a few Christmas songs now, and to clue out the evening, and Lynn's little show here for the finale, we call it, of the Mummers Festival. Going to do our first Christmas song. Here's one that we put on our first record back in 1984, where the Mummers song was on there as well. But this song was on there too, called "Only One Wish for Christmas." And I must say, I haven't sung this song for quite a few years, but we practiced it, and we're going to give it a go. And we're going to do it especially for the folks this year who will not be able to get back. In some cases, in a lot of cases, they won't be able to get back, although they want to get back to visit their mom and dad and grandman and pop and all that sort of thing, and their old homesteads and all that sort of thing. They won't be able to do it the same way as they did it before, but they got fond memories of doing it. And this little song speaks to that. It's called "Only One Wish for Christmas." Dear boy was the way that the mother began. Her letter wrote on with trembling hand, to say that the trees now are covered with snow, and Christmas is not far away. Her thoughts were much more than the words on the line of happiness shared many past Christmas time. Are you coming for Christmas? I'm anxious to know. That's all that she wrote for us. I've only one wish for Christmas, only one gift that I want to receive. Only one wish this Christmas, I could be here to spend it with you. Her words brought the loveliest pictures to mind, of laughter and love never fading with time. What a promise he made to his mother he'd keep, to spend every Christmas at home. He saw our hand on the letter he had, but not now as strong as it was Christmas past. But it made the smile on her face brighter yet, with these words he wrote back in reply. Only one wish for Christmas, only one wish that I want to get. Only one wish this Christmas, I'll be home to spend it with you. Only one wish this Christmas, I'll be home to spend it with you. There you go. I wish everybody to be home this Christmas, but maybe you won't be able to do it as you did in years gone by. But anyway, we'll make the best of it, and I'm sure we will, as we always do. Here's another song that was on that very same record that we did back in 1984. And the little song, the title of that album is called Christmas Fancy. Another one of these reminiscing songs of going back home. There you go. Fancy, my mind wanders back to my youth, at just about this time each year, when the snow softly falls and the merry bells ring to welcome the Christmas time cheer. In a snug little spot by the side of the sea, what happiness Christmas would bring. When friends rare as diamonds contented would be, to laugh and to dance and to sing. It was coming to my house, so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. To the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring to them all, with a wish for a happy new year. Play it, boys! Come sit in the parlor now, cozy and bright, with the warmth of the old-fashioned stove, and the flickering flame from the kerosene light bring along Christmas feelings of love. Now each year at Christmas I think of it still, no matter wherever I be. In fancy my mind wanders back to my youth, to that snug little spot by the sea. It was coming to my house, so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. To the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring to them all, with a wish for a happy new year. It was coming to my house, so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. In the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring to them all, with a wish for a happy new year. In the 12 days of Christmas let's drink to them all, with a wish for a happy new year. Right, we are here, folks. We're right on time to do this particular song. And as I say, we've done this old song for so many times. And whenever you do it, you never know what's going to break out. Something could happen different. And we don't know what's going to be tonight. Might be nothing at all. You never know. Could fizzle right out and won't be nothing. Well, I got my doubts about that, don't you, Paul?
Yeah,
I don't think
Highly
that's
doubted, but.
Anyway, let's give it a try, see what happens. It don't seem like Christmas if the mummers are not here. Granny would say as she knit in her chair. Things have gone modern, and I suppose that's the cause. Because Christmas is not like it was. Hey, mummers, look in! Hey, look at that! What's the noise out by the porch door? Granny dash mummers, they're 20 years old. Her old withered face brightens up with a grin. Pretty mummers, nice mummers, lovely. Come in, lovely mummers, don't bother the snow. We can wait just a while, sure after you go. Say it if you can, or on some mummer's knee, and let's see if we know who you be. There's big ones and small ones and tall ones and thin, boy-fisted women and girl-fisted men, with humps on their backs and mitts on their feet. My listen, we'll die with the heat. There's only one there that I think that I know, that tall feller standing alongside the stove. He's shaking his fist for to make me not tell. Must be Willie from out on the hill. Now that one's a stranger if there ever was one, with his underwear stuffed and his trapdoor undone. Is he wearing his mother's big 32 ray? I know that I'm not going to say. Don't suppose you find mummers would turn down a drop. Go home, brewer, LP, whatever you got. Now the one with his rubber boots on the wrong feet, he's enough for to do in a week. I suppose he can dance, yes they all nod their heads. They can tap in their feet and their sense to come in. And now that the drinks have been all passed around, so the mummers are clanging her down. Be careful the lamp and hold on to the stove. Don't swing Granny hard, cause you know that she's old. No need for to care how you buckles the floor, cause mummers have danced here before. My God, Elhart, we better go. I allow we'll get the devil's own cold. Good night and good Christmas, mummers, big ears. Please God, we will see you next year. Good night and good Christmas, mummers, big ears. Please God, we will see you next year. You sure there is a shower, sir, Mama. Look at that. Boy, oh boy, what fancy rings you got on. I doubt he can dance better than that, too. I doubt he can dance to a jig, I would say. You think so? Oh, yes, for sure.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's give it a try, see what happens. Hey, come on now, Mama. Try yourself better. mummers. Boy, 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 now look at that. What do you think of that?
What a night, what a night.
Yeah, all right, isn't it, Paul?
Oh,
Hey, Nate, good.
Excellent.
Yeah, Lynn, what do you think?
Oh my gosh.
Well, we got one more song that we'd like to do, and I'll tell you what, mummers, where you going? Don't go away yet. Geez, where you going to? Come back, come back. Come back, boys. What's the matter with you? Your license not run out yet, is it? I think we're going to ask them mummers. First they can sing, they can dance good. Oh, yes, they can dance like you never believe. Maybe we're going to ask them, can you sing? I think they can, you know.
I think they can.
That one with that nitrous on, I think I've seen her before somewhere. I don't know. Got a funny feeling I have. Seen that nitrous somewhere. Hey, what? Anyway, yeah, we got a little song here. That I put on a record, put on an album 2 years ago, and was fortunate enough to have Paul Hamilton come along with me and play the accordion on this song. It's called What Christmas Time Is All About. We're going to invite the mummers to come up, stand behind us here, I guess. Yeah. And they're going to sing along on the chorus of this song. We're doing that in G, aren't we, Paul?
G, yep.
Yep.
G.
Oh, I knew I seen that. Nitrous somewhere. I wonder where I'd be. Well, I know where I'd be.
After that nitrous stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta put this on your bed.
Anyway, we've been married for 49 years and we've never sung a song together, ever.
Well.
Wow.
We've picked berries and we've been out in the bushes and all that, you know. And
Did she ever lay down on there?
she never had no twigs on her shimmy. That's the anyway, boy to God, you know you had to wait 49 years to get to sing song, would you would? Anyway, she's
First hugger.
this little song is it was aimed at young people, at children, and when we did the song, the kids from out in the school in Spaniards Bay and their wonderful teacher, Miss Hunt, I believe, I'm sure that's her name, got their kids together to sing the chorus on this little song. And but you know, we're all children when it comes Christmas time. So it's a song, I suppose you could say, for everybody. It's called What Christmas Time Is All About. I think I finally figured out what Christmas time is all about and why it's such a special time of year. What we discover as we go, God above already knows, and to little children what it means is clear. It only lasts for 12 short days when winter's getting underway and brightens everything before the cold. Seems so far before the spring, but now we laugh and dance and sing. It's been that way since the merry days of old. Everybody now. No need to wonder anymore. Just let the Christmas feelings flow and celebrate this special time. I'm a child that makes it so. And sing with happy voice and swell of silent night and first Noel. It's Christmas time, that's all we need to know. Later. magic word that's on our lips is Merry Christmas time to give. Gifts all wrapped as pretty as can be. Old and young are for a while sharing with a friendly smile, all like children round the Christmas tree. Something else is in the air besides snowflakes like angel hair. Why, everyone's so nice to be around. Wouldn't it be so sublime if all year long was Christmas time and only words of kindness could be found? No need to wonder anymore, just let the Christmas feelings flow and celebrate this special time and the child that makes it so. Sing with happy voices swell of peace on earth, goodwill to all. It's Christmas time, that's all we need to know. And peace on earth is not a dream, though sometimes that's the way it seems. But Christmas tells us we can make it so. Yes, Christmas time says we can make it so. Thanks, Lynn. Thank everybody. Merry Christmas out there, everybody. Have a great one. Have a safe one. God bless you all. Good night.
Wow. I can't tell you how happy I am right now.
That's because I'm here.
I know it's because you're here. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the hearts of all the board of directors of the Mummers Festival, we want to thank these three fabulous musicians and their mummers
And their moms.
for what a wonderful night of music. We hope that we've spread some joy right around the world, because you're watching from right around the world. And so with that, I want to say thanks. Good night to everybody. Thank you for your incredible musicianship
Thanks,
here
Wyatt.
tonight.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas, everybody. That's how we do
Everybody
it.
at the Mummers Festival tonight. Woo!